What's going on, everyone? Today in the office we have a 2014 Hyundai Elantra. We are going to be doing front and rear pads and rotors. I'm a big Rock Auto person. So customer hit me up. I ordered these for her off of Rock Auto, had them sent directly to my house. Came in the other day, today's Sunday, and this is the first day I can get to it. But yeah, let's get to putting some brakes on this car. Get her nice up in the air here. And we're going to scoot this over just a little more. Oh yeah. Sometimes these get nice and hard to get off, so just nice little kick usually takes care of it. Boom, boom. So right off the rip, usually a car will have a brake sensor, a brake wear sensor. It's usually a piece of metal that'll tell you kind of, you know, when you hear the squeaking, like, hey, I need to replace these bad boys. Looking down at this pad, let me get a light here. Legit street cars light. Pretty cool little light. Nice and bright, efficient. So right off the rip, if you can tell, front pad on this side's pretty far gone. See if I can see up in there for the rear. Oh no. Yeah, she's I don't know if you guys can tell, but she's pretty much metal to metal back there. Oh yeah. Nice shiny rotor. She's been, for sure, this front passenger has been grinding for a while. So good thing we got it in here when we did. First, take an initial look at everything, make sure it's all well and good here. This rotor, when I take it off, I'll show you, it's pretty glazed and pretty worn down on the inside here. But first, we'll start by taking off the caliper. We'll take the two bolts out of the back, get it on top of here, pop this rotor off. There is still a set screw holding it in. It looks like somebody has tried to smack it before. Unfortunately, I do not have a hammer. Well, I don't even know what they're called right now, but I don't have a screwdriver for that. So there is a special screwdriver to get these out. They're called impact screwdrivers. Mine broke a while ago. I don't have one. So what I'm going to do is just take a regular screwdriver, put some pressure and twist it. Try to shock it with a regular mallet. Oh yeah, she's on there. Oh yeah, look at that. A couple smacks. Put some impact on her. Cut that bad boy right out. I like to define that as a make or break situation. Sometimes when these screws don't come out, you could be here for hours drilling, cutting, just trying to get it out. Luckily, like I said, I don't have an impact screwdriver, but luckily I was able to bust it off with just a basic rubber mallet and a screwdriver that I just put back over there. So now I'm gonna take this screw and just put it off to the side here. And now we can get started on getting the rest of the caliper and everything off. So this specific Hyundai uses a 17mm to get off the caliper bolts. So now we'll see if we can bust them loose with this. Sometimes these are really tight, other times. Oh, there we go. She's loose. Crank it down for this one. Busted out the old trusty dusty impact here. Okay, I got it loose, but the sway bar gets in your way if you're using an impact like that. So I suck it back in to get that off, and now taking the bolt out. Boom. There's that one. Put it off to the side. Top one needs some persuasion again. Oh. Don't lose the lock washers. There's number 2. Like I said, this pretty sure this back pad's gone. It's metal to metal, so that's why this caliper is stuck on here like that. Ah, well. Not too hateful. The front still had some life left. It was kind of hard to see in there, but this is gonna be the front one. I'm gonna put it on the front of my box here so I don't confuse them. Now, you couldn't really tell from the earlier in the video when the camera was above like this, but I mean she's definitely got some pad missing. Definitely a lot less than this one than the front, but on the rear here there are grooves in this pad, so hopefully this caliper isn't sticking and about to cause us some problems. But let's see if we can get this piston to go back in before we take this rotor off. Now there's a few ways you can do this right here. Some people, before they even take the caliper off, will put a screwdriver in here and pry it. In this situation I can just go grab a C-clamp and make it work, and that's how I'll instrument this for you guys, is using that. So here is the C-clamp that I'm going to use, just a little big boy. And you can do this a few ways. If you can get the pad to go back in and not interfere with anything, you can kind of just slide it in. To make my life easier, I'm going to bust off the bracket here, just to kind of allow me to get to that piston easier and show you guys what I'm talking about. So I'll fold that over. Here's your piston, if you can tell. So I'll take an old pad, just pop it on there, take the C-clamp. Depending on how the back of your caliper is set up, this one's going to ride on the rear bolt for the hose. And then you just clockwise twist in. The piston will go in, and eventually it'll bottom itself out. The clamp should get tight, shouldn't be able to twist it anymore. Just like that. Go back the opposite way, maybe. Try not to drop everything right here. Put that down. Move the old pad out the way. Boom. Just like that, we got the caliper back in. The piston, I mean. Nice and flush. So let's get this rotor off, and then we'll start putting the new stuff on. Now, not sure if you can tell on here, but she's pretty glazed, pretty shiny. Heat marks. She's got some grooving on the inside here. Probably very hard to tell from the video. So if you're ever driving down the road, you go to hit the brakes, your steering wheel starts shaking. Usually that's a sign that a rotor has started to warp, or the pads are not riding on it properly and are causing a little bit of a skip. But 9 times out of 10, your problem's always going to be your brakes. And it's always best. A lot of people pad slap things, guys. I mean, you can pad slap it if you really want to. But, you know, in this situation, we put pads on here with these rotors. You'd probably get 10,000 miles before they're all chewed up. If you were lucky, you won't be able to even ride on them. And then you'll just be replacing pads again. So, Rock Auto, some of the best prices if you could wait a few days. Not bashing on AutoZone, but the customer said they got a quote, I believe, for like $500 for just front and rear pads and rotors. I think I bought everything off Rock Auto, front and rear pads and rotors shipped for like $170. So if you got a few days to wait, I recommend it. So you can get a little side by side. Here's the new one. Here's the old one. Nice and shiny, not rusted, all smooth. Nice cross hatches. So before we put this new rotor on, they usually come with a film on there to protect them from rusting. So I'm gonna grab a can of brake cleaner and we're gonna spray this off before we put it on. Okay. And again, we're just gonna get off that little layer of rust preventative here. Give it a nice wipe down, clean them up. And now, if you still have your set screw, guys, you could easily put your set screw back in. But make sure I put this on the right way. So there's a hole here, and there's 2 screws that you can screw in, but usually some people lose one. But there is a way you could, I mean, obviously it won't go on. I mean, it'll still go on, these holes just won't line up. So again, that screw is not needed. If you have it, put it back on. If you don't have it, you can move on with your life. It's not gonna hurt anything. But since this one is not completely ruined, I will put it back on. We go get that screwdriver again. Okay, she's on there. So now, a couple different ways you can do this. Since we are putting new pads, but we're keeping this caliper, I am going to leave this bracket loose for now. But we will go ahead and reinstall the caliper to the knuckle here. And then I'll just flip the caliper kind of up to get the pads in. You'll see. So let me get back down here and put these bolts back in. Well, I think the impact did the work for me. So now, we'll just kind of fold this caliper up. Hopefully she holds herself up. If not, we'll work around it. So your pads should come with new clips. Let me go check those to make sure. So just as I said, it comes with new metal clips. And now these pads are directional. They will only go in one way, or you could cause problems down the road. So always be mindful of that, and I'll show you what I mean here. So this pad right here has 2 little dimples very close together. That'll be the front pad that goes on this side. On the inner, closest to the engine, it's got a little bit different backing. The dimples are wider, more space for the piston to push it in and out, and that'll be your rear pad. And a little thing that I always do, you don't have to do this, but I like to rub my brakes together. Some people light them on fire, you know, just kind of get that little glazing or whatever off. See that little bit of dust? Honestly, not even sure if it really does much, but kind of just something I do. So now, we confirm that the pads are the right ones and everything. Let's get these clips out of here. The old rusty, crusty, gunked up ones. And here are the new ones. All stuck together in all their glory. Holy moly. Not trying to bend them here, but wow. There we go. So now we have the new clips in. Again, double check your pads, the right one. We need the closer dimples for the inside. You just line them up in those grooves. Whoa. Now this side's hanging a little bit lower, so there you go. That pad is in. Grab the other one. I'm wearing my glasses today and they're getting in my way. Boom. So just like that, your pads are in. Now there is some controversy where, and I'll show you what. Let me go grab it. I used to use a lot of stuff like this, and where you would put it would be kind of on the inside of the slider right here. Some people would put it on the edge of the pad here. Some people put it on the face. Factory doesn't come with any sort of lubricant from the factory. I kind of just stopped using it a few years ago. This bottle's pretty old. Like, pretty sure this was a different color at one point. I could be wrong. It's just that old. I haven't used it. But since we're not going to put that on, and now that we have our pads in place, you just kind of slide it over. Since I didn't loosen this one, I don't have to mess with it. But when you get to down here, it could fight you a little bit. You just got to take that guide pin and kind of push it in a little bit, because they do loosen themselves up. So there we go. Got it on. Get my wrench. It's a 14 mil on these again. She's nice and tight. I know I didn't take this one loose, but let's give it a good check. Alrighty. Put your tools back so you don't lose them. And just like that, we now have the front passenger side of this 2015 Hyundai Elantra. New rotor. We got the set screw back in. We got the caliper back on. The new pads in. Everything tested out good. Now, again, as I'm going through all this, I'm checking things out. Like, are the guide pins, are they tight? Are they loose? Are they spinning? That one was pretty good. The other one was moving. If they ended up being seized or not moving, that's when I would grab that. I'd clean up the pins, and then I'd grab that, and then that's when I would put that on. And just like that, we got the front pads and rotors done on this Hyundai. There wasn't much to it. Again, anybody can do this stuff right from the comfort of your home. If you have basic hand tool, you don't need a fancy jack like this. A basic jack will work. Basic jack stands. I have the luxury of having this impact, but if you just have a regular tire iron, which I thought I had one sitting up here, but I guess not. But you know, if you got a regular tire iron, it works just as well. The only two tools I really used was a 14 millimeter and a 17 mil. 14 being on the caliper guide pin, 17 being on the bracket itself. Phillips to get that out. Again, they do make impact screwdrivers. I didn't have one, so I just took my basic snap-on screwdriver and a rubber mallet and just kind of hit it a couple times, just shock it, and then popped it loose. So just like that, let's move on to the back. All right, moving to the rear of this Elantra. It has both set screws in there. I'm gonna go take the e-brake and I'm gonna go lock it in place so we can stop that from happening. Okay, e-brake works. Good news. All right, give these a couple tappy boys and see what happens. Oh yeah. Who needs an impact screwdriver when you are the impact screwdriver? Check this one. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. So the rear has a little bit smaller bolts on it. Both the caliper bracket and the caliper guide pins for the bracket to the caliper are both 14s. So I'm gonna grab a ratchet because I don't have one. Gonna bust out the old snap-on long handle. A little more leverage. The bottom bolt is stuck between the whole e-brake system, so had to bust out an extension to get to that bolt. I'm in weird positions, so I gotta do what I gotta do here. 6-inch was probably overkill, but what size extension I grabbed, and that's what I'm using. I'm able to unscrew that with my hands. There's no thread locker on them, so just a little gummed up. Now I did just go release the e-brake, but she's still on there a little bit, so. Holy moly. So I'm gonna be honest, it looks like this was pad slapped at one point. There's the old rotor off. All right. A little crusty, but not a problem. Here's the new rear rotor. Nice and shiny. I feel like this one, you can kind of see that layer of film I was talking about that needs cleaned off. I'm gonna spray it down. Unfortunately, we had a blowout on our glove. I was trying to keep my hands as clean as possible, but oh well. I'm gonna have a dirty little brown thumb, I guess, now. All right, same thing here. There's your lug stud. There's a screw, lug stud, screw. Again, other way won't work. So just boom, slide it over. And since we did still have both screws, we will go ahead and just slap them back on. My red rag seems to have left some fibers behind. Snug, snug. All right, now we can put the caliper back on. I am gonna pop these. So you know what? These have a little metal bracket, like a little tab holding them together. I'm gonna grab the impact and pop that bracket off and put the bracket on first, just to make my life a little easier. There's one. So I went ahead and just took the whole bracket off for this one. These pads actually did not look bad. Same thing though, there is a sequence for them to go. So I just wanted to show you something. Talking about using that grease on here. You see how this is like caking with dirt? I feel like that grease gets in there. I mean, look at that falling out. The grease gets in there and builds this up and causes these to not move that well. They're scoring on these and everything. These don't look bad, but I firmly believe that these were pad slapped recently, and that's why they look this bad. But we're just going ahead and replacing it all anyway. So again, remember the sequence. This one's a little bit easier to tell because you can see where the piston was. Here's your little squealer I was talking about on the front. This is your little wear system. So when you start getting down to that area, it'll be like, start squealing and be like, hey, you need to replace me. So let's take these and put it off to the side. Get the new get the old bracket put back on. And then I gotta show you how to get this caliper back in because it's a little different. So I'll show you that step next. But for now, let's grab this bracket. Taking a little look at it. Again, not too bad on this, but a little bit of junk in those threads. And here's what I was telling you. As long as those spin and move pretty freely, you never have to worry about these. Unless that wasn't moving like that and was stuck, that'd be a problem. But those are good to go. So let's go ahead and put this bracket back on. Okay, we're gonna run this in with just a regular ratchet. Now that the caliper's out of the way, I can do this way. The only reason my impact was just vibrating, making the impact noise, is the spring's in the way and I couldn't really get the impact flat, so it was sitting on the bolt funny. But like I said, since the caliper's out the way, we're just gonna go ahead and do it this way. Nice and tight. So we're back on there. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with how these work, I'll get you a little closer. You see all those little grooves on there, on the piston? This is a screw-in piston style, not a basic press-in like the fronts were. So I'm gonna show you how we do these ones. I'm a big Harbor Freight person. I have one local to me. Years ago, I used to use a Snap-on truck and pay the buku bucks for the same tools. Now I just go and get the cheap stuff from Harbor Freight and replace it when I need, which has pretty much been never. So inside of these little kits here, let me get it open. Now, I did just use this Friday, and that's why you'll see some brake fluid on here. But they come with different designs, different sizes, and depending on your caliper, that's how you know which one you need. So I'm gonna assume, could be wrong here, that this is a 6. Let's see. Too big. Let's try a 7. I'm not trying to block the camera so you guys can see. Boom. So right there you can see that we got the little bracket in there. Is there a smaller one? Let's try 4 real fast too. More flush. Don't work on there. Okay. I think the winning number is going to be this here 7. So the way that this works is, take this piece, slide it through, and it slides down. So pretty much this collar moves, and this collar tightens up against the caliper, and then this other side twists in. Alright, now the way this works is, those little holes on the back hold it onto here. And then those two are what twist it together on the caliper side. So hold that there. Take this one. Oops. Take that there. Now we got it nice and tight. And then you just twist it in. Be careful of the boot there. Sometimes they do stick. So just kind of watch it. Oh, she's sliding off. Alright, so I believe she's nice and flat. So after you get that portion done, the next portion is just come back over to the brakes and start putting them on, if you haven't already done that step. Here's the new hardware. These ones are fancy black. Nice. That one down. These ones weren't as stuck together, that's good. Boom. So again, in the rear here, the squeaker will go in the back side. The other squeaker. Okay. Now I'm not. The other brakes did not have this on here. We will put it on to be safe. Again, don't have to do this, I just do it. Alright, slide it in. There we go. Grab your caliper, slide it on over. Watch out for your guide pins back there. If they are working right, they should start to come back out, and then you got to push them back in. We know these are 14s, but we know that the e-brake right there is in the way. So since I already got this on here, go ahead and smack this one. She's not gonna fit, so we'll grab a wrench. All right, guys, just like that, we have done the front. I'm not going to show you the other side. I just did the one side for now. Pretty much the same thing on the other side. I already inspected the pads and rotors on both others, on the front and rear. They look the same. Pretty much equivalent to what you just saw on this passenger side. Driver side's the same. But yeah, more commonly, you're going to see the rear pistons need twisted in with a special tool. This special tool you can get at Harbor Freight. I think it's 30 bucks. There's a part number there if you would like to know what to get. You don't need the set screws in there. If they still are there, use them. If you don't have them, it's not a big deal. But that's how you put front and rear pads and rotors on a 2015 Hyundai Elantra. There's no special sequences on locking out electronics. There's no specialness that's needed to do any of this on a car like this. If you wanted to go farther into it and do, you know, the brake fluid, you can. It's not needed. The car is going to survive just as fine without it. But yeah, guys, that's how you change some brakes on a 2015 Hyundai Elantra. Pretty straightforward. I brought some extra light just so you guys could see better. The tools that I use isn't a lot. Rubber mallet and Phillips was just simply to get the set screws out of the rotor. C-clamp was to press in the front piston. The Maddox tool for the rear piston. A few wrenches. A jack stand. Impact's not needed, but if you got it, it helps. Impact to get the wheels off. Not needed, but it helps. You can just use a regular tire iron. You don't need to do this in a garage. You can easily do it right here. I could have done it out here. When I first got to working on cars back in, 2017, 2015. Wow, I'm way off. 14, actually, maybe. 2014, I'm way off on my years. I didn't do it here. I bought this house a couple years ago, but I used to do all of my work right on gravel just like this. So anything can be done however you need. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video today. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, just put it in the comments and I'll get back to you. I look forward to doing stuff like this. It's nice for me to be able to tell you guys how to do things. Not everybody knows how to do this, and now if you can learn from my video and understand how to do this at home, great. But there you go. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.